Alright, so in this stream, I'm going to be learning about... What culture are we learning about?
I don't know, man.
How
about Germany?
How about...
No, it's too long.
How about Poland?
How about Canada?
Yeah, Canada. Alright, and today, Clout Man will be teaching us today. He's the most well-renowned historian in the entire world. Oh, yeah, he's the smartest historian that ever lived. Now let's make that face count. You can tell the Russian flag in the background, because he is actually Russian. I'm gonna go. I have to get some sunglasses.
Yeah.
I'll be back. Wink. Cloutman will start reading you some
Okay.
beautiful literature.
Not safe for school.
Those are for
Shouldn't use this. But
We're doing Canadian culture.
I need to have this right here to enunciate.
No. You like and Canada wanted to die. So use it for
So it moved next to America.
And so
Okay, here we go. The name
is the biggest white boy in the world because he has a white sweatshirt.
Find the history of Canada.
Alright.
Where's the history? History and
Ethan,
anti-relations.
you're in the stream, by the way.
I know.
Emergence
Wait,
of the
actually,
nation.
I have to do
Canada, throughout its history,
in 10 minutes, we're going to take a pause in the stream
Might
to do
be
some homework,
best-
but it's just going to keep going.
Can you shut up? Might be best described as a nation of nations. Two European colonial powers dominate the history of Canada and its emergence as a nation: France and Great Britain. In time, Britain emerged as the dominant political and cultural force in Canada, but that emergence exemplifies the sense of compromise and cooperation on which Canadian social identity is founded, while Britain and later English Canada came to be and remain the most powerful part of the Canadian cultural landscape. The dominance and power exists in a system of joint cultural identity.
What's your name? What's your name, quick? Tell everybody.
You already told everybody, though.
Well, you need to tell them. Periodically say my name is Clout.
Oh, it's happening over there. Anyway, with
can't swear, it's true. Unless you say, better not say heck.
I'm gonna say heck. Okay, so with French Canada in Quebec and in other parts of Eastern Canada remaining a singular and distinctive cultural entity in its own right. Wow, interesting. How do you like being taught about Canada by Cloutman, the most renowned superhero historian of this day and age. Okay, the Canadian novelist Hugh MacLennan, right here. This is Hugh MacLennan.
Yeah.
Writing in the 1940s, spoke of the two solitudes which in many ways govern the culture. Yes, exactly like that, thank you. Which govern the cultural and political life of Canada. Two communities, distinguished by language, culture, religion, and political beliefs, live in isolation from each other with divergent aspirations and very divergent views of the history of Canada as a nation. There we go. The peace between the French and the English sides of the Canadian coin is a peace born in war, with Britain defeating French colonial forces in the late 18th century. It is a peace born of common purpose. This is really long. I don't want to read this.
Yeah, you do. Call it, man.
Oh, no. How about I'm gonna read this? Food and economy. The agricultural and ethnic richness of Canada has led to two distinctive characteristics of everyday food consumption. The first is its scale. Milk in a bag? I will shoot your bag milk.
That doesn't sound like somebody called me.
So, where was I? Please tell me where I was.
I don't know. You're talking about food and diversity.
Okay, the first is the scale. Canadians are big eaters, with meat proportions in particular dominating the Canadian meal. There are generally 3 regular meals given a day. Breakfast, often large and important in rural areas, but less so in urban areas, is most often not eaten in a group. Lunch, at midday, is most often a snack in urban areas, but remains a substantial
If
meal.
you smile, you can't breathe. I can breathe. Okay. Wow. That's you just tricked me. Clout man.
Wait, where'd it go? In rural centers, dinner, the final formal meal of the day, is also the meal most likely to be eaten by a residential group as a whole, and is the largest and most socially important meal of the day. Wow. Sounds a lot like America. It is the meal most often used as a social event, or to which invitations to non-family members are extended, in contrast with lunch, which is often, for adults, shared with co-workers. Meat.
Good to know.
I'm gonna read something else, because you guys have figured that out. Trade. Canada exports around the world, but its most important export and important trading partner.
Important export?
Yeah.
That's funny.
I know. An important trading partner is the United States. In recent me, I'm Clout Man, and Clout Man knows all. Don't quote me on that. In recent decades, Canada has had a slight balance of trade advantage with all its trading partners, including the United States, by exporting more goods than it imports from others.
These are my glasses. Sorry, I had to just.
Shoot your nose off. The automotive sector dominates Canadian manufacturing trade due to a preferential trade agreement with the United States, through which American automobile manufacturers agreed to produce 1 vehicle in Canada for every vehicle it exports to Canada from its American-based plants. We'll be back later.
The stream's gonna stay up.
Clout Man will leave now. Clout Man has left.
Who's this guy? Clout child. It's Clout child.
This is I. Clout's child.
Gonna staple that on.
Can we go back to the yes,
And I said, well, how long do you have to go? Oh, I'll make it. Don't you worry. And I thought, that's because you were so neat.
Okay.
Oh, so is your mother.
This is Clout child. That's what Elijah's name when he's not wearing the mask. Clout child.
So your grandmother.
You should change that to your name on Discord.
Your grandmother.
Clout child.
Or it could be Clout Man.
No,
Wait.
Clout child when you're not wearing the clout mask.
I would imagine.
Should I just make another Discord account?
Yeah,
And one of them is Clout Man, and the other is Clout Child. This is very hard to tape these eyebrows on.
I think people make special ones when they
Wait, there we go. That works. Okay.